Turtle Dad.
And what's up, Turtle Squad? And we're going to talk about...
We're going to talk about friends of Turtle Man and enemies.
And also, in the last video, I talked about Volcano-Man a little. And that's going to be in our episode.
That's right. Last episode, we spent time talking about the powers of Turtle Man and some of his gadgets, like his watch and his strength, and all the powers that came from his watch and his shield arms and his shield or his shell. But this week, we're going to talk about the other people who inhabit Turtle Man's world. And so, are you ready, Turtle Man Tad?
Yep. I always am.
You always are. All right, so first of all, we're going to talk about really the first character that I heard about when he started filling out his world beyond Turtle Man, and that is the character known as Volcano-Man.
And he has some fire abilities.
Okay.
And
yeah, he's got fire abilities. Go on.
He shoots them out of his hands and legs.
So he shoots his fire out of his hands and legs.
And also in his belly. Also from his belly.
From his belly. And from his hands and from his legs.
And also from his eyes.
And from his eyes. Okay, so this guy is a just fire shooting machine out of every possible area. His hand, his feet, kicking fire. He shoot it out of his belly, out of his eyes.
And also, he has he is one of Turtle Man's friends, and he is one person that Turtle Man made.
Hold on. Okay, two things there. He is one of Turtle Man's best friends, and he is someone that Turtle Man made.
And also, his slide got made first, though.
Okay. His slide got made first. But okay. First of all, what is it that about Volcano-Man that makes him Turtle Man's best friend? That
usually he goes on missions with him. His real name is Xander. In real life, he's my brother.
Okay. So, we just outed him as his brother. So this is Volcano-Man, real name Xander. And he is his best friend because they go on missions together. What else do they do as best friends?
Well, they have missions to beat their enemies.
Missions to beat their enemies. Okay. What do they do when they're hanging out, when they're not fighting enemies?
Oh, usually in their base, playing on their phones or playing a board game.
Okay, so they're usually at their base playing on their phones or playing a board game.
Or they are at their get in their real world and have fun playing.
They play in the real world, yeah. So
and have fun with their family.
With their family, right. Okay, so they are best friends because they hang out a lot together. And they go on missions together. Now tell me, okay, so Volcano-Man has a lot of powers. How does Volcano-Man's powers, how does he use those powers to help Turtle Man? Like, do they have any moves that they do together?
Yeah, he could burn his, sometimes Turtle Man can throw rocks, and Volcano-Man's put fire on the rocks so it can hit real hard and put them on fire.
Okay.
Usually you go to base there. His enemies go back to base to use their water spray.
Okay, so they got to go wash themselves off with water in order to get the fire off. So they got a rock throw, lava fire thing. What else do? Do they have any other moves they do together?
And also Volcano-Man has some fire, a lava house that's called a volcano, and he drinks from the lava from it.
Hold on. What?
He drinks lava from his house. That's the volcano.
He drinks lava from his volcano house?
Yep. And because that gives him more firepower.
Okay, so he gets his firepower from drinking lava at his lava house. Okay, so what does this lava house look like?
A big volcano man. Big volcano with.
Okay, big volcano with what?
And usually in the back of his house there is a big fire statue of him.
And in the back of the house there's a fire statue of him.
And also his friends.
And of his friends. So he decorates statues of his friends and him, and it is a fire statue. Okay. So this is where Volcano-Man lives. He lives in a volcano house with fire statues in the backyard. He drinks lava from his house, and that is how he gets his firepower. So if he starts running out of firepower, he has to get home and start drinking lava. Yep.
And also he has lots of the bowls of fire.
He has lots of bowls of fire?
Yeah, he brings on missions sometimes.
Oh.
When he thinks he needs them.
So he brings the bowls of fire along in order to replenish his fire powers in case he runs out. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
And also, that's all about Volcano-Man.
Nope, not yet. Because you also said that Turtle Man made Volcano-Man. Now, hold on. What does that mean?
He used to have a fire suit.
So Turtle Man used to have a fire suit.
It got broken. He made it Volcano-Man first, then he made the slide with the rest of the pieces.
So, okay, hold on. Let me see if I got what you just said. So he had a fire suit. This was something that he had made for himself before, and it broke?
Yep.
Okay, how did his fire... Okay, you know what? How did his fire suit break?
By one battle by his first enemy called the War Turtle.
So he fought with War Turtle, which we're going to come back to that guy. And in a battle against War Turtle, his fire suit got broken. Was this like an experimental suit that he had made for himself, or was this like what was it exactly?
It was his greatest masterpiece that he had. But first, one day he found the little pieces of fire. Then he built it to be bigger to make his suit. Then it broke. Then he had to build two things with it.
Okay, he built two things with this fire suit that was broken by War Turtle. What did he make?
A slide and Volcano-Man.
He made a slide and Volcano-Man. Okay, so Volcano-Man we're talking about. But this slide, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this slide the slide that sits in his backyard in the real world that he goes down to get into Turtle World?
And it has password. And
yes.
Every video I'll talk about the password. And I'm going to tell it right now. T01.
So T01 was the password. Let's be careful who we give that to, though, Turtle fans. If you guys give the password to one of his enemies, that might be really bad. So keep that password secret, Turtle fans. Now, so he created the slide. So I guess I have a question. How did Turtle Man get into Turtle World before he had the slide?
Oh, well, he used to have a dirt slide.
He used to have a dirt slide.
like he digged a hole.
He dug a hole.
And once he fell, he tried to hold on to the ground and climb back up.
So I'm guessing this is going to get into his origin. So now we're getting a little bit into origin, which we're going to come back to that later. But he first discovers Turtle World. Must have been in a hole in the ground in his backyard.
Yeah, he fell, and he figured out what, and he saw webs.
He saw webs
leading to another town.
Okay, so he saw webs leading to another town. You might have heard his voice trail off there because he's looking away from the microphone because he's picturing it. He is picturing it as he's talking. So he falls into this hole and he holds on to it, but he sees these webs leading to another town, and so he must have slid down this dirt slide into his turtle world, where he fought with some guy named War Turtle. But first he created this fire suit, and this fire suit breaks, and he uses what's left over of this fire suit to create his slide, that in order to not use a dirt slide. I'm guessing the dirt slide must have not been comfortable.
Yeah.
And then he also uses the rest of it to create Volcano-Man. So much going on. But basically, what you're saying is something broke in this suit, so the suit can't be. Why couldn't the suit be fixed again to make him have a fire suit again?
Well, because that was he had to have a piece of paper to build it.
He needed a piece of paper to build it.
It showed how he builds it, but it broke. And when he digged in, he built it. He had a paper. So when he digged down with his shovel, he fell, slipped. He dropped his shovel into the lake that's called the Turtle Lake.
So what he's digging, are you talking about digging his slide? Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know some of that thing that was going on there. So what you're saying is he had lost, basically what you're saying is he lost the instruction manual to build his suit?
No, a shovel.
No. You said there was a sheet of paper.
Well, he didn't build it after he lost his shovel, and also he saw the dots.
Okay. Okay. What?
He saw the 100 dots.
He saw. Okay. Let me take this from the top. He couldn't build his fire turtle suit again because he couldn't find a piece of paper, which I'm guessing that's the instruction manual, and he dropped his shovel and he saw lots of dots.
Yeah, and then
Whoa! One thing at a time. Okay, so the piece of paper must have been the instruction manual. That was how he made the fire suit. So where did he get this instruction sheet in the first place?
well, he built it.
No. I know he built the suit, but you said there's a sheet of paper that he had, and when he lost that, he couldn't rebuild the fire suit. Where did he get the piece of paper in the first place?
Well, he didn't.
He didn't?
He had to make the own piece of paper.
Okay, so he made the instruction manual himself on the piece of paper, but he couldn't recreate it?
Yeah, because it's his first design. And when he got into and he brought the design with him, and he had a suit on, and he fell, and smash, he fell.
So he made the design, wrote the design on a piece of paper. It was his first creation, you say. And then he lost the design
By falling, and then the piece of paper flew into the lake.
It flew into Turtle Lake, which is in this world. Okay, now how does the shovel fit into this?
Well, let's say that for another story.
No. Okay, you brought up the shovel, and you said this shovel has something to do with the fact that he can't remake his fire suit. So you need to tell me what this shovel is. What is this shovel?
Is this the shovel that he used to build his hole?
Okay, so the shovel he used to build the hole. So I'm guessing so let me put this all together. He finds this slide, this dirt slide into Turtle World, and he needed this shovel to help build it?
Yep.
Okay, so he's got part of it, and then he has to shovel it out, maybe to make it fit a little bit better or something like that. And then he loses the shovel. So what does the shovel have to do with his fire suit?
It doesn't do anything with it.
It doesn't do anything with the fire suit. Then why did you include it in the details about the fire suit? Are you saying when he lost his shovel, he also lost the sheet of paper that had the instructions for how to make the fire suit?
Well, it gripped one of the half of it, the piece of paper.
So when he drops the shovel that he's using to build the dirt slide to get into Turtle World, he also loses the instructions for his fire suit. And then when his fire suit gets broken, he can't fix it again because he lost the instructions that he had made before. Is that right?
No. It took off ripped off a little bit, like a part of the piece of paper, ripped.
So part of the piece of paper ripped when he dropped his shovel, and so he couldn't recreate the fire suit when it broke when he fought against War Turtle.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
When the first time he fell, he dropped it, and it flew in the lake.
Okay. All right. So what am I getting? Okay. Here's a question I have. Was the fire suit pre or post his becoming Turtle Man? Was that before he became Turtle Man that he had the fire suit? Or was this after he was Turtle Man?
Well, it was before.
Okay. I get this now. I'm starting to figure this out. So he falls into this turtle world through a hole, and he's trying to hold on, but he doesn't know he sees these spider webs leading into this world that he follows somehow. Right?
No.
You said he saw webs when he was falling down into the tunnel the first time.
Yeah. Because,
okay.
I think, and he was bringing it down. He found a little webs in his house, and he was trying to put on his house, put it away in the garbage. Then when he fell in the hole he was building, down went the spider webs, and it fell to make a big shell-shaped web.
Okay, so he falls down this. He is trying to clean up some spider webs in his house, and then he falls down this hole, and he sees lots of shells, and he's falling through these webs. Sorry, as he's falling down, and then there's it forms this this turtle-shaped web.
Yep.
Okay, sure, that's foreshadowing, and then he ends up in this world. And in this world, he comes up with a design. So I'm guessing he has to fight. He has to find a way to make his way through this turtle world. And he makes this design for a fire suit, which he invents. And he has a sheet of paper that he reads this invention or creation from. But then, while he's trying to make his path into Turtle World easier by shoveling out a slide, the slide rips the piece of paper. Or his shovel rips the piece of paper. He drops the shovel and part of the piece of paper into Turtle Lake. And then he's got his fire suit. And so he and his fire suit go around fighting against enemies. And then in the battle against War Turtle, his fire suit gets broken. And he's not able to fix it again. Although I'm thinking probably this is probably where the origin of how he becomes Turtle Man instead of just a fire suit man or whatever he was calling himself before. Don't talk about it. We'll come back to it later. So he becomes Turtle Man instead, and with the leftover remains of his fire suit, he makes two things. One, he makes a slide that is a metal slide, so it's no longer a dirt slide, into Turtle World. And two, he creates Volcano-Man. Now how did he choose who would become Volcano-Man?
Well, wait, what?
How did he choose who would become Volcano-Man? He created Volcano-Man. I'm guessing what you mean is he created the parts to make him Volcano-Man. But how did the person who became Volcano-Man become Volcano-Man?
Well, because there was a training similar that he made, like where he.
Oh, a training simulator.
Yeah.
Okay. He made a training simulator.
And he has called the three people in his family.
3 people in his family he called to do this training simulator.
It was Chuck.
Okay.
Phil and there.
Yep.
And first he called Phil to do it. Phil failed.
So Phil tried and failed, and so he could not succeed in this training simulator.
Then Chuck did, and he failed.
Chuck tried and he failed.
And Xander, he did it and he won.
He succeeded in this training simulator, and so Turtle Man creates the leftover parts of his fire suit to make him Volcano-Man. So is Volcano-Man a suit or is it a power?
It's usually the person.
Right. But I mean, is it the suit that makes him Volcano-Man, or is there a power associated with Volcano-Man?
Oh, there's the fire power.
The fire power. So he gets this. Hold on. But there's a fire suit that you gave him, and that's how he becomes Volcano-Man?
Yeah.
So how does he get the power? Because you're saying he needs to drink lava to get this power, so that makes it sound like it's more of an internal power, and yet this suit that he puts on would be something external.
Well, the fire suit. It was fire.
Uh-huh.
Like, so it became like. It became a part of him when he goes into Turtle World.
Okay.
Like, when he slides, it does the same thing like the Turtle Man does when he goes down the slide.
Okay, so it's like it's a suit, but it's like when you wear the suit going down the slide, it does more than just be an external power. It becomes more of it turns you into something different.
Yeah, and also it has a shell.
See, this is something that's fascinating about this, is that it sounds like what you're saying is there is a suit that you make he makes outside of it, that when he puts it on, when he goes down the slide, it becomes not external, but something internal, something self-powering. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Now we're seeing a little bit more into what we might call the ontology. No, that's not how we're going to call it. The nature of Turtle World. So the nature of Turtle World is it takes external things and makes it part of you, which is fascinating to me from a ontological level. So we are to the end of our episode, and we have only talked about Volcano-Man. So as it turns out, we're probably going to make this a multiple episode series going through his friends and enemies, and I knew this was going to happen because Volcano-Man is very important. And I think although I want to ask one more question before we finish. I remember when we were playing one day and we were talking, and you brought up that Volcano-Man used to be an enemy. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Used to be Turtle-Man and Volcano-Man used to have a battle.
Okay.
And there's soon there be a movie about it, but
Okay. Well,
to win
movie to be filmed. Got it.
and fight Volcano-Man, he built it, but he built it first a battery
He built a battery.
for the suit to be built.
For
And the
suit.
first when Xander got in it go.
So he went a little crazy when he first got into the Volcano-Man suit.
Then he turned evil.
And he turned evil.
Then Turman has to fight him, and the suit got broken. by
Okay.
him. Then
He fought him and the suit got broken. Talking to the microphone.
then he built it again.
Then he built it again.
And the next time he built it worked.
Okay. So there was a little bit of trial and error to the creation of Volcano-Man. The first time he made Volcano-Man, he went crazy and fought against Turtle-Man. So Turtle-Man had to fight and help him and stop him and break the suit in order to fix it. And the second time he came out, he was not an enemy.
Yeah. And Volcano-Man his brain was fried.
And his brain was fried.
Until when it got broken, came back to him.
Okay.
And he didn't know what happened when he was flying, but he was wondering but his brain got a little bit of his things knocked out of his brain.
Okay. This is all really interesting. We're gonna bring this episode to a close, though, and but we'll be back with more Volcano-Man, or with more of the friends and enemies of Turtle-Man. So signing off, I'm Turtle Dad.
And I'm Turtle-Man Ted. Bye, you Turtle Squads.
Bye, Turtle Squad. Okay, Turtle Squad. Oof. It's Turtle Dad here with another recap, and I don't even know where to start on this one. So, Volcano-Man, Turtle-Man's best friend and former enemy and always brother, he became Volcano-Man after Turtle-Man made a first attempt at his power suit, making a fire suit, which he fell into Turtle World, fought against War Turtle, and in that battle his fire suit got broken, and he had previously written the instructions on how to make the turtle suit on a piece of paper that he lost while constructing the tunnel that got him into Turtle World. So when he fell down in the first place, there were spider webs everywhere, and he made his way down, but it was somehow he needed to make it a little more efficient to get into his Turtle World somehow. He builds it, and while building it, he loses the instructions for the fire suit. He loses his shovel, and it all falls into Turtle Lake. And so out of the remaining parts, which you can't put back together, some of it uses to make his turtle slide. Instead of being a dirt slide, making it be a slide of metal. And the rest of it he used to build a replacement suit that he was going to give to someone else. And he has a training simulation that he brings all of his brothers together to train, and Xander is the one who makes it through, and so he gives him the volcano suit. That volcano suit transforms him into Volcano-Man in the Turtle World, and in this Turtle World he has a house which just looks like a volcano, and he has fire statues of all of his friends in the backyard. And from this volcano, he digs out his lava, his magma, whatever it is, and he puts it into bowls, and whenever he drinks that lava, he is able to shoot fire out of his hands, out of his belly, out of his feet. He's just able to shoot fire out, and this is Volcano-Man. But we learned some important details about Volcano-Man himself, as well as his world in this episode. We learned that Volcano-Man himself had Turtle-Man himself, that he had a first attempt at a superhero power, which was actually fire power. And this was not meant to be, because he was defeated by his first enemy, and that somehow he became Turtle-Man in the process of between then and when he gives the suit to his to Volcano-Man. And the second thing we learned is probably, in my mind, the most fascinating. And I brought it up in the episode, you maybe heard it, that in Turtle-Man's world, when you go down the slide entering into this world, some external part of you, like the costume you're wearing, becomes a part of you. And we did hear something like that with Turtle-Man going down the slide, and how he grows a shell on his back, and his suit turns black, and his regular watch becomes a power watch. Like we heard a little bit of that before, but I didn't know how to understand it. But now I think there's something in the transition of going from our world to Turtle World that makes whatever you're wearing part of you, which is fascinating. So this episode was a little tricky, you may have noticed, and kind of hard to follow, which is a great opportunity for me to explain why I was doing this in the first place. So I've said before that this is kind of an outlet that we thought he could tell his stories, and maybe even I even mentioned come back to them over time. Well, there's a wonderful thing that happens when children tell stories, that they are completely unfettered by reality, and so they are able to just be pure creativity. You've heard it with your own children, if you have them, or with grandchildren or other children, that when they tell a story, reality doesn't matter to them. They can just make it up as they go. And as a result, because they're not bound by things like logic and science and whatnot, they can be just utter creativity. And there is a huge strength in that. There's a huge weakness in that, of course, and we saw it in this episode, which is that there can be, it can be confusing, hard to follow. And yet, I wanted to preserve these stories in my really creative little boy so that he could come back to them later. Because I myself have a background as a storyteller. Nothing ever serious, but just I used to do a lot of fiction writing, and I occasionally have an idea here and there. And as a storyteller, I'm listening to him say things, and I am myself putting together a way that you could figure out and make them work more logically. And I could do that myself. Like, I could right now start writing the story, Turtle-Man and his friends, and I could take the details and the creative insights that my son's created and make more logical connections, smooth out the rough edges. But I would much rather preserve his storytelling at this age, and then one day come back to them and have him do it himself. Have him listen to the ranting and ravings of his 6-year-old self, and think, so how would this work out logically? And to fill out some of the details. It's sort of the same kind of thing of what you see whenever, if you were a comic book reader, you see this happen periodically, where a bunch of stories will be written by a bunch of different writers about the same character, and over time tensions in the narrative start to show themselves. So and so wrote this, but wait, so and so wrote this, and another person wrote this. And these stories, or these backstories, don't seem to line up, or these explanations of the characters don't seem to line up. And then some author will come along, some writer will come along and say, I see these, and I see a method to the madness. Now, that madness might not have been intentional, but they can see how they can line it up, and in lining it up, they can tell an even better story than if there had been no tension and there had been no story flaws. And so I am hoping that we can capture these early stories of Turtle Man in a time capsule, and then someday have a much older and more mature Ted come back to the stories, and maybe he'll change the name to something else. Maybe he'll adjust some of the stories. Maybe he'll decide some of the ideas he had were just too silly to keep. Who knows what will happen over the years, but he is going to come back and have and bring a fresh insight, kind of like that third writer who looks at two different writers and says that the stories don't exactly line up, but I can make them line up. And I can't wait to see it. And of course, I also can't wait to hear more about what he has to say about his other members of his turtle family. And I hope that you are enjoying this as well. I hope you join us again for the next episode. And until then, I will say, with Turtle Man, thanks for listening. Turtle Squad.